guys, it's Lizzie. Let's start with the Big Bang. Yes, I believe in the Big Bang. Genesis 1:3, God said, "Let there be light." And it wasn't talking about the sun because that wasn't created until verse 14. And the Big Bang is accompanied by a huge flash of light. And it proves that our universe had a definable beginning. But let's look at the bigger question. How this whole Big Bang introduction to our universe completely contradicts science. The law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. The Big Bang was a super dense, dimensionless point of pure energy. I believe that an external deity who created the law of conservation of energy, who is the author of physics and chemistry, was able to defy his own laws to create that energy, which expanded into what became our universe. We're going to look at something called the Anthropic Principle. So after the Big Bang, we have matter and antimatter being created at slightly unequal proportions, which created these things called quarks and antiquarks. Don't worry, I don't understand what they are either. But I do know that whenever a quark and an antiquark collide, they each die. And since it's a huge density in the post-Big Bang energy swirl, they're all dying. But because of the slightly unequal proportion of matter and antimatter, for every billion pairs of quarks and antiquarks formed, an extra quark is formed. And it is with these extra quarks that you are watching my video right now. But seriously, if it wasn't for the unequal proportion of matter and antimatter, we wouldn't exist. If you do attribute this whole universe thing to chance, then in your random chance, this is all coincidence world, it would make more sense for the matter and the antimatter to be the same proportion. The second after the Big Bang, if the rate of expansion had been less than 1 of the 100,000 million rate of expansion, the universe would have just collapsed in on itself and we wouldn't exist. And then finally, if the nuclear force holding together the protons and the neutrons in the post-Big Bang world had been just a little bit weaker, then no elements would have been created and we wouldn't exist. This post-Big Bang epicness is just too much of a crazy coincidence that my rational mind cannot attribute to chance. Now we're going to read about John Leslie's fun shooting scenario from page 77 of Francis Collins' The Language of God, which is where I got the information for most of this video because I am not a science person. In this parable, an individual faces a firing squad and 50 expert marksmen aims their rifles to carry out the deed. So this be like 50 people tie for gold medal in the shooting event of the Olympics. The order is given, the shots ring out, and yet somehow all of the bullets miss. And the condemned individual walks away unscathed, meaning he's still alive. They all miss. It'd be like 25 Michael Phelps and 25 Ryan Lochte diving into the water and drowning. How could such a remarkable event be explained? Leslie suggests there are two possible alternatives. In the first place, there may have been thousands of executions being carried out in the same day, and even the best marksmen will occasionally miss. And so this is talking about how a lot of people believe that there are thousands of different universes, which, by the way, no scientist ever have been able to find evidence proving that there are other universes. We don't know if they exist. And so some people say that there are thousands of different universes and that's why one happened to work. The likelihood of one of those universes being able to be created in such a way to sustain life would be like 50 marksmen all missing. And even the best marksman will occasionally miss. So the odds just happen to be in the favor of this one individual, and all 50 of the marksmen fail to hit the target. The other option is that something more directed is going on, and the apparent poor aim of the 50 experts was actually intentional. And so it's like all the 50 people got together in a huddle and agreed to miss on purpose, which seems more plausible. So if you are not going to believe in God, then you're going with the first alternative, that it's more plausible that 50 people shooting a guy would all just randomly miss. I believe that it's more rational to think that they all agreed to miss, or in the scenario of our universe, that God planned for it all to be perfect, for it all to happen in such a way that eventually life would be able to be sustained on our planet. We're going to end with this funny, epic quote by Freeman Dyson, who is a famous physicist. The more I examine the universe and the details of its architecture, the more evidence I find that the universe, in some sense, must have known we were coming. Well, the way I see it, God had a plan that humans were going to exist. And we'll talk about evolution in the Bible in next week's video. For now, select a video on the screen to watch next, and click on it. So many epic selections. If you're watching this on an iPad or an iPhone, they're all linked below. And you can also just go to my channel, youtube.com/LizziesAnswers, and they will all be there. He made the heavens, the earth, and the sea, and everything in them, including me. He made the heavens, the earth, and the sea, and everything in them, including me. He made the heavens, the earth, and the sea, and everything. What are you still doing here? Click now! Go away! You just saw me embarrass myself on YouTube.